Sup?
Hey everybody, how's it going? Facebook Live world.
I just wanted to say that I really liked wearing my sunglasses and my trench coat in my office yesterday, so I was rolling with it a little bit. I thought all day. It's really hot in here, so I need to kind of maybe take it off. I don't know. That sounded bad.
So today, you may have seen our post yesterday where Ashley was loading a revolver based on the way we saw it in the trailer for the Dark Tower movie. Idris Elba.
Is that how you pronounce his name?
I don't know.
Idris?
Idris?
I don't know. It's a cool name.
Somebody comment and let us know how wrong we are.
I'm sure you won't have a problem with that.
In the trailer, he uses a modified Remington New Army.
New Army. Well, we're not sure what the caliber of the gun is, but
I'm not sure.
If it's a 44, then it's a New Army.
And they load it lots of different ways. They use half-moon clips. They drop some cartridges into the chambers.
There's a really cool thing off a belt that I can't accomplish.
It's pretty awesome.
It's also pretty important to notice when he said modified New Army that it has a swing-out cylinder, which if you look at this bad boy, no, it's not gonna happen.
The cylinder comes out, but it doesn't stay there.
Yeah, it doesn't come out, but not as cool as the way that Idris Elba does it. So we just thought, we wanted to take that kind of, we were inspired by it. Actually, Danny was inspired by it. He came in my office and was like, "Did you see this trailer?" And I was like, "No." But it had Matthew McConaughey in it, so I was all in. But we wanted to talk a little bit about the history behind that. I want to first disclaimer: we have not read the book. We don't know what it's about. All I know there's a gunslinger and a man in black and a gun that's not historically accurate, but that's fine because it's an alternate universe. So it doesn't matter. Which is actually what's kind of cool about the movies is that you can have whatever you can dream up pretty much made into the coolest thing ever, and then you can just do whatever you want.
And it is really cool.
It is really cool. We think it's cool. I mean, but what do we know?
What do we know?
We just have a bunch of guns in front of us. I should also point out too that I'm not wearing gloves because these are all reproductions, and they're also all inoperable because trusting Danny and Ashley with things that go boom. So we wanted to talk a little bit about this concept of loading, especially in these movies where you're seeing these Old West movies where people are speed loading everything, which not 100% accurate unless you're like Bob Munden. I'm sure he could have done it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are way more skilled than us could probably have come up with ways to do it. But the loading process on some of these old percussion guns is actually tedious, to say the least.
Really tedious.
And we've got a series of them. What do we got, Dan?
So this is a copy of a Colt Patterson. You'll notice it's missing a lot of things you'll see on later revolvers. It doesn't have any kind of loading lever. The cylinder doesn't swing out or anything. It's a percussion gun. You have to pull it back to half cock to get access to the cylinder. Colt's first handheld revolver. Well, handgun revolver, because he made a rifle, a long gun that was a revolver before he made the Patterson. But this was kind of the genesis of what became the standard, well, not the standard, but iconic revolver.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know what I'm trying to say.
What are you trying to say? Well, so the Patterson, too, one thing you'll notice on Pattersons that have survived is, and we have one upstairs, it's actually a Texas Patterson, but it has a loading lever on it. And so a lot of the Pattersons that survived, they ended up putting loading levers on it because it helped.
It's pretty handy
to load the guns. And then what's the other one that you grabbed? Not this one. That one doesn't count because it's not percussion.
So this is a copy of a Colt 51 Navy, and as you can see, loading lever has been added here. So to load the gun, the cylinder stays in the gun, and this drops down. You line up your cylinder, and you can load in your powder and bullet and grease the top of the cylinder, and then push it all down with. Let's see if I can line it up. And load it like that, and then return it once you've done that 5 or 6 times, depending on the caliber and your preference in loading, how many chambers you kept loaded, and then put a percussion cap on the nipple back here, and you're ready to fire. Still a tedious process, but helped by a loading lever.
And then these are all Colt's kind of ways to solve this issue, but then the Remington version, which gets kind of confusing because you hear everyone, all the repro companies, a lot of people they call it a 58, the 1858, but that's not totally true, and it gets really confusing because it's actually referencing the patent date that's on the barrel. And the new models, new model armies, I think weren't made until 1863, but that got a colloquial kind of expression of 1858 because of the patent date, which is really funny because whenever we're training up a new person in the Firearms Museum or someone in registration to know how to identify markings, we're like, P.S. if you see a date on the gun that's attached to PAT, please don't write that as the date of the gun. So it's kind of an interesting thing and it's used so often that even I was like, I don't even know which one they're talking about, really, because it's comes off of Fordyce Beals' first revolver that he made for Remington in 1857, which I think was a 5-shot, and then he moved on to the Remington Beals, and there were several Army, Navy models that came before this one, and this one's the Army. I have a bore gauge over here, and I just checked it because I don't always know by sight. And it's 44 caliber, and then they made the Navy, which was the lower 36 caliber, and so this is fun to load. It's the same kind of process that Danny talked about. You got your powder, you pour it in. There's a little, no, I don't want to like point it at you, Danny, so I'm going to put it at an angle. You've got this kind of, this little gap right here. That's important. Because you pour your powder in, and then you take a ball. And this one's like, it seats really weird. And then you seat it in, and then the other thing that they always say, if you either use a piece of a wad that you can put in it to help seat the ball, or you can use some kind of like, it's not butter, but
grease.
Some kind of grease to lube it up. And then you have to do it at half cock so you can rotate the cylinder. And so once you load that, that's when you get your loading lever down. And I'll see if I can. There we go. Nope, just kidding. I have it in the notch. All right. Ashley, now there we go. I got it right. It's been a really long day.
We're
okay,
really good at this.
So you load it in. Helps to seat it in, and once you're all done with that, you've got the...
Come back. Okay, never mind. Go.
Yeah, we're good.
So, this technical difficulty brought to you by Jessica Bennett. All right, so then you end up putting your percussion caps onto the firearm, but again, still just a really long, tedious process. The cylinder does come out, but it doesn't swing out like you see a lot of the later guns. And I point this out because movies love to choose guns like this. Movies are a person. But prop masters love to use guns like this because of the nostalgia, because of the Western feel to it. But, it really didn't load very fast, and that's not very exciting. Like, you don't want to see what I just went through, although it would have been a lot better if you had someone that was a real gunslinger. But you don't want to see that whole process. I mean, that's not very exciting.
Process. Sit there and watch somebody load for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and it'd be like, oh, wow. Movie magic. So you can understand why a lot of prop masters and various directors would need to kind of accelerate that process. They could have used another gun which accelerates but not quite, and that's when they went into using the metallic cartridges where you could load from behind. But this one still isn't super great because we just had someone enter into the office who has holsters for us.
We're doing great today.
This is Brandon. If you saw the video, he was the face that threw the cartridges at my gun. Say hi.
Howdy.
He was in a meeting.
He brought us our holsters for these guns.
Yeah.
But as Ashley was saying, in the trailer, if you watch the trailer after we made reference to it, you'll see that although he's using a gun that looks like this Remington, the whole time he's loading cartridges. And that was the next step in loading a firearm, but the first cartridge revolvers still loaded one at a time through a gate like this that you can probably see, hopefully. And you loaded one cartridge, moved to the next chamber, loaded another one. And you'll notice in the trailer that he's often loading all the chambers at once with a half moon clip, which didn't come about till a little bit later.
We didn't want to open our World War I case to get those out.
We're a little lazy.
Sometimes it's not lazy, it's just a process, man.
It is a process.
Yeah.
But that lets you, if your revolver has a swing out cylinder, which William Mason's
no, it was not Mason. That was a lot of people don't realize. No, Daddy.
Sorry.
A lot of people don't. That's way harsher than I intended it. A lot of people don't realize that Winchester, actually, their revolvers in the 1870s had a version of a swing-out cylinder, and there were a lot of designers that were involved in that: Wetmore, Wells, Wood, and Borchardt. Although he doesn't get a lot of credit for that.
And you did see some guys, some revolvers like Smith & Wesson revolvers that would break open. The barrel and cylinder would tip forward, and there'd be an ejector to push the cartridges out, so you could load. That would speed up your loading too. Not exactly how he loads it in the trailer, but another option for your early revolvers. So yeah, there was one scene in particular where he kind of threw some cartridges at the cylinder and they all went in.
Doesn't work. We tried.
That was pretty fun. We tried it a couple times.
It's kind of like, I wanted to get some like glitter to substitute for powder so that it could just into the air. But well, we came up with this at the last minute yesterday. Literally, because I think the thing got posted at like 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
so.
we posted it kind of late. But that's some of our revolver loading. And why we like movies that might not be totally accurate.
And this rubber Glock
cool.
is still sitting in my office.
And a Glock.
But you know, we always laugh because anyone that is a big gun aficionado, you look at those movies, sometimes you roll your eyes. But there's some serious reasons as to why they do that, and then there are some not so serious reasons. And aesthetically,
I did it.
He did it.
I've been practicing.
He wasn't. This was in my office. He can't get. He doesn't have a key to this place. But it really shows you, you know, the history behind these guns, how tedious it can be to load them, but then also why with movie magic you change it, because from time to time it doesn't work so well. You can't get it back in, can you?
No, I can.
No. All right.
You've been wanting to do that. She's been telling me about that since this morning.
Yeah, I know. But we just wanted to show you a couple of the early percussion guns and the early metallic cartridge guns, just so you could see that maybe Idris Elba is just cooler than all of us.
Maybe.
I think that's the answer. I think that is the
option.
moral of the story for this. And that if you're Idris Elba, you can do all kinds of things with Remingtons that you've had modified.
Yeah.
Has it?
That's it.
All
I
right.
guess,
Well, we hope you enjoyed this really interesting and embarrassing pile of things that we grabbed from our our educational collection. We apologize. Some of these guns don't work so well because people handle them every day. So we've got a gunsmith sitting outside that tinkers with them to make them a little bit better. But we thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll practice up, and someday we will be as cool as Idris Elba. And I don't know if Matthew McConaughey has a gun in the movie, but if he does, as Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right, thanks, guys. If you enjoyed this, awesome. If you didn't, I don't care.
You can comment.
I do care. It's actually like they know that I care so much. But you can comment, and we'll chat with you later. Bye.